stand to start with the national anthem, please. Today, the Jamaica Midlife Health Society is taking another giant step as it honors its mandate of promoting optimum health at midlife and beyond. We have chosen another innovative format for bringing health education to the layperson through a short but interesting skit, which will of course generate extensive exploration of the subject at hand, and that is medical ethics and retirement financial planning. Today, people are living longer, and we are adding our voice to encourage people to put things in place for an effective retirement plan for individuals and for their families as they advance in age through midlife. What if you die without leaving a will, leaving children and spouse behind? Will they benefit from your assets? Will they know the required steps to follow at the Administrator General's Department? As we all know, the first step to solving a problem is to first admit you have a problem. How do you identify the signs that you are entering into, or you are smack in the middle of a midlife crisis? Here are a few symptoms I would like to share with you. 1, when you start to question who you are. Think about that. When you start to question who you are. 2, feeling trapped financially. Some of us are reaching there, smack in the middle of it. 3, hard to concentrate, find it very hard to concentrate. 4, desire to get fit and improve your appearance. Ladies. Another one, desire to learn something new. Oh, we know about this. Irritability, and finally, a desire to simplify your life. I just want my life to be simple. If you're in your 40s or 50s or early 50s, these symptoms grow and gradually build into a crisis. But the good news is that it doesn't have to become a crisis. If you recognize and embrace the transformation that it has at the end, identify it, accept it, and embrace it. Doing nothing allows crisis to take control of your life. Taking action allows you to transform crisis into inspiration and positive change. The midlife can be a turning point in your life. This is not a time of isolation, but a time to surround yourself with those who can help you through this transformation. Now get connected. The good news about midlife is that the glass is still what? Half empty. Of course. The bad news is that it won't be too long before you see what? Your teeth floating in it. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, we shall now proceed with our event as itemized in your programs. But before that, I just remembered a new pastor in town who wanted directions to the post office. He approached a 13-year-old gentleman and asked, "Guy, could you please tell me where the post office is?" The boy said, "Go down 2 blocks, turn left, there's a red building, that's the post office." I said, "Thank you, Guy. You know something? On Sunday, you're going to come to my church and I'm going to show you the way to heaven." The little boy smiled on his face and smiled. To heaven? You don't even know the way to the post office. Mrs. Carol Richards, chaplain at UTEC, is not new in town, as he knows her way about. and of course, can show us the right way to heaven. Let's arise as we welcome her for the invocation. Please rise.
Good afternoon. I just want to say two things quickly. One is that I am post midlife. I'm going through my own, you know, whatever that is, stage. And so I'm not feeling too well today, so I won't be able to speak for the entire program. Yeah. But I decided since I made a commitment, I will still come and do the invitation. So if you see me slipping on, please forgive me. Alright? And secondly, the anthem that you have here in Jamaica is a prayer. Do not wait until it is being sung for you to have to sing that prayer to God. Alright? Let's bow our hearts. God of science, medicine, and all knowledge, it is by you and in you and through you that all things were created. You are the ultimate healer and deliverer and the one who holds our future in your hand. Take complete control of this symposium. Fill this room with your brilliance and your presence. Lead, guide, and direct. Give wisdom, knowledge, and understanding to presenters and participants. Help those involved in this skit to do an excellent job. Allow those who present as panelists to be clear and to have presence of mind, to be articulate and flexible as may be needed. Give wisdom to those answering questions. Answer, and that participants as well will be free and not hesitate to ask questions. Lord, you alone are God. You are the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And we give all the praise and honor and glory to you. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, because of the problem that was stated earlier, we're going to do a presentation to the chaplain youth by President Lincoln.
Sure. Carol, I can't thank you enough for coming, especially not being in the best of health. You did this for us, and we're truly grateful. And this is a token of our appreciation. Thank you. God bless you.
Thank you again, Madam Chaplain. It's a windy day, and a little old lady in the street was holding her heart with two hands, with both hands. The wind blew and blew, and her skirt started going around her, exposing nothing beneath her. She was naked. So she was arrested and taken to court. When she got to court, the judge said, "Old lady, you should be very ashamed of yourself for that public exposure, indecent exposure. That shouldn't be done by you." She turned to the judge and says, "Judge, remember, what I have underneath this skirt is 82 years old. I just got my heart, which is more important to me." Thank you very much. Our first guest, they say middle age is when your age starts to show around your middle. It's also said that middle age is when the broadness of the mind and the narrowness of the waist exchange places. But our next speaker has defied these two sayings. She does not believe in indecent exposure to be charged by the authorities, and she's always immaculate, well-dressed for any occasion. She has maintained her beauty, her physique, wit, and broadened her capacity as she aged. She has propelled the Jamaica Midlife Health Society into a new era of innovativeness while working tirelessly over the years to bring the good news of healthy aging and health education to the masses in a number of parishes for so many years. Ladies and gentlemen, let's put our hands together as we welcome Dr. Phil Whitburn, President of the JMHS. Give us the welcome and overview of the JMHS. She will also do the introduction of the skit.
Thank person you're referring to. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a wonderful sight to see so many of you here this evening. I am so delighted I can't tell you. I wish to welcome you with the warmth of a summer's day and hope that this evening's symposium will entertain as well as educate you on matters about which you may not have given much thought. Allow me to share with you a brief history of the Jamaica Midlife Health Society, because I think many of you might not have heard of it or think it's some spooky thing, a group of middle-aged women sitting around talking about menopause and drinking tea. But it's actually much more than that. The scribes have recorded that in the year 1997, a certain general practitioner by the name of Dr. Venice Bernard Wright, I wonder if she's still alive. Is she in this room? Venice, please stand. Yes, this certain general physician by the name of Dr. Venice Bernard Wright sat at the feet of Gamaliel at a conference of the North American Medical Society, and was suddenly struck by a brilliant light of insights that Jamaica needed the revealing and enlightening information that she was hearing. This made her determined to spread the word on her return to her home in JA. So in November of the same year, she called together some wise men and women of the medical fraternity and formed the Jamaica Menopause Society. The mission of the society was to educate everyone on health issues that occur at menopause and beyond. This was done through medical seminars and for health professionals and public lectures for lay people. Gradually, over time, the men of JA country rose up in protest. We want our issues addressed too. And the din became a clamor. Not wanting a rat on our hands, the wise men and women took up the challenge and responded by addressing all aspects of life that impact on the quality of life of men and women, and appropriately changed the name of the organization to the Jamaica Midlife Health Society. So, Jamaica Midlife Health Society is made up of volunteers from the healthcare profession and other persons with varying specialties capable of adding value to the organization. The society is interested in the mental, physical, sexual, spiritual, and financial health of persons, and seek to address these issues through seminars, public lectures, and other forms of outreach activities. The Jamaica Menopause Society was the first organization to bring public awareness on the importance of bone health, how it declines with age and after menopause, and what could be done to preserve it and to avoid the terrible crippling conditions of fracture of the hips, which in the past have made many women and men, not so many men, but women, confined to bed or confined to a wheelchair or having to use a walking stick. This evening we have another first, the combining of medical ethics and retirement financial planning, and the link between both. In this symposium, we offer information for members of the health profession specifically and the wider society generally. I think everyone will find something of interest as we proceed. This will give you a taste of what we offer and why we should never miss any of our public, the Jamaica Midlife Health Society's public functions. At this time, I wish to invite anyone who has a skill that could enhance the society to apply to join. And I wish to make a special appeal for doctors to join to strengthen our medical cadre. I wish to thank our sponsors, Mayberry Investments Limited, Health Brands, and Candy Craze for their support of this event. We truly appreciate it. I also wish to thank the members of the executive of the Jamaica Midlife Health Society for their sacrificial time and work in getting this program together. It's been really a tremendous team effort. And now, it is my pleasure to introduce our exciting skit entitled The Chronicles of the Lees, Their Health, Financial Woes, and Beyond. This skit is the brainchild of our own chairman and vice president, Dr. William Brown. I think after you've watched it, you will agree that William has a future as a scriptwriter and actor. Not only that, I saw him setting up the camera, I saw him doing everything. He seems to be multi-talented, giving us jokes, steering the function. William, we truly appreciate all your talents. We really want to thank you for the vision, the talent, and the hard work you have put in to get the job done. In this skit, you will learn the pressures that patients and doctors can face in life, their response to such pressures, and the consequences that ensue from them. You will also learn what services are available in Jamaica to secure a financial retirement, and how you can let your loved ones love you even more after you have gone to fertilize the daisies. And now, let the play begin. Da-da-dum, dum-da-dum.
This is the chronicle of the Lee family. They have been married for 20 years with 2 children. Mr. Lee, aged 55, lost his job 3 months ago. Mrs. Lee is a 48-year-old receptionist in a public sector company. Last week, she visited her healthcare provider, who had been treating her for hypertension and high cholesterol for the past 3 years.
Mrs. Lee, your blood pressure and sugar levels are okay, but the cholesterol level is still high. Have you been taking your treatment as we agreed?
I have been missing these workshops. As a matter of fact, I have been falling asleep after dinner. This is really something else. I just haven't been able to keep up. My daughter cooks in the evenings, my son washes the dishes. So what I do, I'm out of it completely. Right? I don't know what's wrong. Maybe you can help me?
Well, according to what you're telling me, I think you are depressed. And we have to start treatment as soon as possible so that you can start feeling better quickly.
Depressed up, depression. I don't think I'm depressed. No. No, I think I'm anxious maybe over my children's welfare. I mean, the education, how they get into school and their welfare. But oh, I don't think I'm depressed.
Yes, it is clear that you are anxious, and anxiety sometimes occurs with depression, which is not easily obvious.
I don't know. The bills keep piling up. I don't know what to do right now, Doc. Even medical insurance, you cannot pay those premiums anymore. You have to pay today out of my pocket. And as a matter of fact, I don't know how I'm going to carry on with this, you know.
Okay. Well, I'm afraid you'll have to take a few days off work and start on antidepressants as soon as possible. If there is no improvement in 2 weeks, you will have to be seen by the psychiatrist.
Shrink? I'm not mad. Am I? Oh, God. Can do what? I need some rest. Can I get at least 2 weeks?
Okay, because of your situation, I will give you 2 weeks leave, as you may experience some side effects from taking your new medication. So you get a chance to, to catch up and start your treatment.
And by the way, remember I don't have health insurance. And you write my prescription in my friend's name.
This is not a request to be, this can put the doctor in trouble.
Remember my husband lost his job 3 months ago, you know.
Okay.
This is our name.
Okay, I will write your prescription in your friend's name. But you know it is not legal to use another person's health insurance card. But I do understand your circumstances.
I appreciate this, Doc. I really appreciate this. Right? I want to thank you for your efforts.
Okay. By the way, did your husband subscribe to a retirement scheme?
No, I don't know about those. He doesn't really talk to me about those things. So I can't inform about that. I really don't. You know?
Well, please check and let me know, because things may not be as bad as you think. Do call and let me know of your progress.
I will know that.
And I'd like to see you to review your condition in 2 weeks.
Yes, sir. Thanks again.
Okay?
All right?
Okay.
It is 3 weeks later, and Mrs. Lee's husband and their daughter Stephanie are here to see Dr. Lee.
Strange it, but we believe she was taking the medications, that you had prescribed for her.
I'm so sorry to hear about that, but I don't understand what went wrong, because
in fact, the police actually had to come in. We called the police last night, since we didn't know it was something, and they theorized that she might have committed suicide. But suicide, we don't think that she was that ill to commit suicide, and we need to go to the bottom of this. We're a little bit confused. We need some explanation.
it is possible she wasn't taking her medications properly as directed, because she had serious problems regarding finances, and she had been the sole breadwinner since she lost her job 3 months ago.
How do you know that, Doc? Were you supposed to be dealing with the medical issues, and now you've gone into our personal financial problems? I don't understand that.
Yes, we had to discuss all her non-medical problems as they are connected. In fact, some non-medical problems could lead to psychological problems. In fact, she did not return for her appointment a week ago, as I had instructed, and
Blah, 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 blah. Now that she's gone, we have to get to the bottom part of this. In fact, our attorney wants to intervene because we are sure and we know that she did not get the right treatment from you. Besides, she did not have a proper follow-up.
But we really need to get to the bottom of this. I need to know the truth.
I agree.
Look, we're definitely going to miss more, but we know for sure that she was compliant with her medication. But come to think of it, looking at the pills bottle had somebody's name on it. It could have been that you had given her the wrong medication, or the pharmacist who prescribed it, and that was what led to her death. It's about suicide.
Okay, Mr. Lee, to be truthful, I had to write her prescription in her friend's name, as she had no money to fill the prescription.
Oh, I see. So the question is whether she got the right treatment or not. Right? Whether she got the right treatment or not. But our attorney has to intervene, and you have to look for an attorney to defend you. All right?
I'll see.
Yes. I sincerely feel and share your grief and loss at this time, Mr. Lee. But you can rest assured that I care for your wife for the past 3 years to the best of my ability.
And you also have to remember that you have to report to the life insurance company and the health insurance company that she subscribed to as soon as possible, that she died. So we can get a little money to bury her. I have no money, I'm not working for some months now.
Right. But, in fact, Mrs. Lee was reluctant to see a psychiatrist when I suggested that option to her at her last visit. I will surely talk with my attorney and then proceed according to his advice.
Dr. B, we'll see you in court.
Definitely. Yeah, we're going to proceed. So some of us have just had the first taste of what I like plays. I go to every play in Jamaica. All roots to an old man an old woman were talking in a nursing home. I like those stories, you see? And the old man said, I'm so old I can't even remember my age. And the lady said, the old lady says, yes, I can tell you your age. He said, how do you know? He said, just bend over. And I'll wear some trouble on your pants, bend over, and I'll tell you your age. So he quickly rushes, draws his pants, and bends over. And the old lady said, I know your age, I'm just 87 years old. The man astonished said, how did you know that? And she says, but you just told me that yesterday. Our first guest panelist cannot be fooled by such antics of bending over and telling one's age, because he has been one of Jamaica's distinguished specialists in gynecology and obstetrics for the past 40+ years. On his badge of honor shines his involvement and success with the Medical Associates of Jamaica, the Medical Council of Jamaica, the Medical Associates of Jamaica Insurance Fund, we call it NAGIF, which he conceptualized with others, the Gynae Associates, where the president in Kingston and Portmore, and he is currently the president of the National Society of Obstetricians and Gynecologists in Jamaica. He holds the Order of Distinct Official Rank awarded by the government of Jamaica some few years ago. Now, in 2012, Jamaicans voted him as one of the foremost 50 Jamaican doctors who have made the highest contribution to healthcare in the 50 years since independence. Recently, he has offered his expertise in the area of medico-legal and ethical issues. Ladies and gentlemen, help me in welcoming my old mentor, Dr. Errol Daley.
Thank you very much, William. This evening, I want us to sort of get a better understanding of medical ethics. Because I think that a lot of us have an idea that this is not what it is. Can I have you just say it, please? Yeah, ready?
It's ready.
Next slide, please. Yeah, next slide, please. Okay, so what is medical ethics? Why is it necessary? It's necessary because every doctor I know has at least 5 years training at one university, and specialists have additional training. So I think that all doctors are in fact qualified to look out. In addition, the public volunteers respect and prestige the doctors. And this makes power between ourselves and our patients unequal. Go back to this. It makes the power between ourselves and our patients unequal. Hippocrates, over 2,000 years ago, pointed out that a balance was necessary between doctors and patients. And in fact, this is still relevant. Next, please. Medical ethics, therefore, attempts to create the power between the doctors and patients. It discourages paternalism when we kind of just allow patients to talk about it. They allow them to talk, they're not really interested. It supports patients as equal partners in their health care. It is a dynamic process, it's not static, and it's complex. It has, as we see with all the ethical issues around now, everybody knows about what's in the papers now. It concerns philosophy, law, assurance, social values, medical training, and human rights. All kinds of things are concerned in ethics. I am sure everybody knows that every doctor, as soon shortly after they graduate, like as soon as finals come out, we take this Hippocratic oath. And the Hippocratic oath is basically to remain a member of society with special obligations, to place our patients' interests before our own, to pledge a life of service to others, to respect our teachers, to protect our patients from harm and injustice, next please, to treat all patients equally, to protect patients' rights to make decisions, well, most patients must help in making decisions based on our own health, to continue to improve the care that you give, to try to prevent as well as cure disease, to prohibit sexual intimacy between yourself and your patient, and to protect the patient's confidentiality, very importantly, and to impart your medical knowledge to others. Those are what the oaths that we take as it's not just to treat patients. Those are the things that we are important in dealing with our patients. Next one, please. In Jamaica, this is overseen by the Medical Council of Jamaica, and it oversees all the medical issues, ethical issues in medicine. The primary duty of the Medical Council is to protect the public by regulating the conditions of medical practice across Jamaica. Next, please. The Medical Council consists of 8 registered doctors which are elected by ourselves or ourselves. The Registrar of the Medical Council, the Chief Medical Officer or his or her deputy, the Dean of Faculty of Medicine, and Minister and his nominees. Next one, please. And this is the Minister. His nominees are, he has 2 doctor nominees, Professor Winston Davidson and Adjunct Professor Winston Eric Dawes. The other gentleman in the back, apart from this one, who is another nominee from this gentleman is a theologian at UTC. The rest of the gentlemen at the back and this lady make up the 8 doctors that are elected, led by our chairman, Dr. Honorable John Ambrose Hall. The other 2 nominees from the minister are Jean Norchin and Althea Anderson, who's a nice, very bright lawyer. Right, that thank you very much. So these are the gentlemen and ladies that make up the group of people who overlook and oversee ethics in Jamaica, medical ethics in Jamaica. Next one, please. And they remind us that as doctors, we are committed to a lifetime of learning. The Medical Council makes a rule that all physicians has to have a minimum of 15 hours continuing medical education per annum as a requirement for annual registration. And all specialists will provide the continuing medical education. Next one, please. So, the ethical physician, therefore, and they make sure that we are all ethical, is an approach of, just like Dr. B, an approachable, compassionate. You see how compassionate he was? Yeah. It's a little too compassionate. We'll come back to that. Thorough, patient, but decisive, trustworthy, loyal, and dedication to patient care, competent and technically skillful, but always learning, and therefore competent. Turn it off for me. Not quite finished. I just want to, first of all, tell my wife, thanks for helping me with all this that I had to get done here. Thanks very much. According to the Professional Ethics for Physicians, which is a little booklet that is available online, every doctor here should have it. It's available online, it has only 40 pages. So just put one line and print it out. It really is worthwhile getting. And every doctor should have it. One of the things that the Code of Professional Ethics insists on, as we were saying a while ago, is that all doctors are ethically obliged to participate in continuing medical education, or CMEs, in order to enhance knowledge and competence and to make themselves up to date in their particular field of service to the public. We cannot say for certain that Dr. B is guilty in this, but his knowledge does show some consequential gaps in the current management of depression. So it sounds to me as though Dr. B has not been able to see it at all. Early in the skit, Mrs. Lee speaks to her tiredness and a general loss of interest in life. It's called anhedonism. She also mentions the loss of her husband's job and consequently the loss of his health insurance in the family. This is causing financial woes in the family. Her symptoms are all pointing to the fact that she's severely depressed and ultimately she expresses the desire to kill herself. Now that's a very significant thing. Whenever you hear anybody with depression mention harming herself, take it very seriously. Dr. B currently puts clinical depression on the list of possible diagnoses and promptly starts appropriate treatment. He unfortunately incorrectly leads Mrs. Lee to believe that she will begin to feel better in 2 weeks. Most patients with depression do not begin to feel better before 4 to 6 weeks. So it is wrong to tell her that she's going to feel better in 2 weeks. In most cases, as I said, it takes 4 to 6 weeks to get better, to begin to feel better. And in addition, as I said earlier, that patients with Mrs. Lee who have depression and mention suicide should be treated as an emergency and should see a psychiatrist as an emergency. You can't sit on people like that. If she mentions suicide, you have to. And so those 2 little things I think have to say that Dr. B was at the, well, he probably did have not been to the series. But I tell you, I don't practice psychiatry. And I go to my CMEs, and in CMEs I learn math. You know, so that almost every year there's a talk on depression. Almost every year. So I think Dr. B has not been going, and therefore did not realize that suicide is a possible real risk in this case, and it is a possibility that this is what she could have died from. So that this concerns is physician conduct and practice. The other thing medical counsel insists on is doctor-patient communication. He says that good communication is an essential part of the physician-patient relationship. The physician is obliged to pass on all information to the patient in a way that she can understand it and understand in respect to her illness, in respect to her treatment, and in respect to what she expects. Oversimplification should be done because sometimes you do this to the exclusion of vital and relevant information. But we should always try to speak to patients so that they understand what we're saying. Should Dr. be involved in these very supportive family? Children are working after dinner and washing dishes, and everybody is very supportive. And should Dr. B include family in her care? Well, the first thing is that Mrs. B stated that she's not mad. Perhaps Dr. B might have responded that indeed she's not mad, but she has a chemical deficiency in her brain, and this is quite dangerous to her because she can harm herself. And therefore, because she can harm herself, she's going to be on suicide watch. So that the best people who are on suicide watch is our pretty good daughter here, and our husband. And so that I think Dr. B is obligated to tell the family. But unfortunately, this comes up to now something called patient confidentiality. This is that Dr. B cannot tell anybody, not even my family, about what is wrong with her until he gets her permission. Confidentiality is of paramount importance. Whatever the patient says to a doctor, in this instance, what Mrs. B says, is private. And you cannot share that information without her permission. Can't divulge it to anyone. Even after she dies, you still can't divulge it to anyone. So it's important that we realize that that is a real possibility. The only time you can get away from patient confidentiality is, one, if she's mentally and physically incapable of making decisions about whether the information can be or not. If she has a communicable disease such as HIV, when she's HIV, her husband has to know. And if the court, the country demands that you get the information, and in fact, when they ask you, they say, I'm afraid I cannot give that information because of confidentiality. And he says, well, I am going to force it to be, but that time now to be, but it has to be done. And those are the only 3 conditions in which confidentiality can be, you don't have to fulfill this. Regarding sick leave and health insurance claim, this is an unfortunate thing, and Dr. B was really a little too soft here. Usually makes 2 requests. The first is for sick leave. Now, I think Mrs. Lee deserves sick leave, but I'm going to talk a little bit about that. Every certificate that a doctor signs, every single one, must be true and must be verified. No medical certificate, regardless of who asks for it, should ever be given to a patient unless it is accurate and true. So you can't write sick leave for somebody if they're not sick. Where Mrs. Lee is concerned, if you go to leave her leave, you're going to have to try and make sure that she's not left alone because of the risk that she has of suicide, real suicide is, and probably all the more reason why her husband and family should be on board before you give her sick leave. The second request Mrs. Lee makes is that her prescription be rewritten in a friend's name. I want to say this clearly. It is illegal to facilitate any person, regardless of how soft you are and how kind you are. It is illegal to facilitate any person making a claim on another person's insurance policy. It is illegal. It constitutes insurance fraud and is punishable by law. It is therefore unethical and should never be done, ever, regardless of how bad the situation is. And doctors are supposed to be compassionate and all that. Believe me, you get yourself deep rude if you do that. Really, really bad. I want to talk a little bit about truth telling. And I had to look into this before I noticed it. Unfortunately, Mrs. Lee has died, and Mr. Lee appears to be placing culpability at Dr. B. As soon as he hears about culpability, Dr. B should contact his medical liability insurance provider, who will then give him further advice. Suffice it to say that no information to the patient or family member should be disclosed by the doctor without proper legal counsel. So as soon as you hear about legal counsel, you say, I can't look after you anymore. We used to think that you can fire patients, so the only patient can fire you. You can fire any patient, but you have to ensure that that patient has alternative care. So if you're going to withdraw your care, means that I'm going to have to give you the scripts to Dr. Brown or somebody like that, and Dr. Brown will say, yes, I'll accept it, before you withdraw your services. I think that once you're being sued, usually the patient has found another doctor. You should ensure that she has another, or he has another doctor, if she's contemplating suing you. And the first thing to do is, as I said, get in touch with, I have to say it's Major, get in touch with Major. Because that they are going to send you to a lawyer, and you don't have anything else to say to the patient after that. Your Major's lawyer will tell you where to go after that. You will work out everything. No, it's not the time to talk about all the things that are going on. The time to have done that is when you're looking after the patient. The patient needs information, you're looking after him or her, you give them all the information that they need at that time. But no, it's not the time to talk to the patient after the fact about when he or she is suing. Because there's a later time for this. One of the first things that happens when you're sued is, it's when, within a year, everybody sits down around the table, and everybody sits down and says, this is what I want, that is what I want, and see if you can reach some kind of combined, coordinated way forward. Very often you can. If you can't go reach any way forward, then that's when it goes to court. Okay, so that's the time, not before. Don't have anything to do with the patient, don't have anything to do with what you're saying. If I end up with this professional image is in danger of being tarnished, it is important that you not say anything that is either not true or that is true. The less said at this time, the better. Because at later time, as I said, and the time for full communication is when you're looking after the patient. You recall that Dr. B told Mrs. Lee that he would consider psychiatric care if she did not improve in 2 weeks. That's what he said to her when he saw her the first time. The second time, now, when he's speaking with Mr. Lee, he implies that he offered her psychiatric care at the first visit. Who noticed that? He implies that, oh, but I was talking to her about psychiatry, she did easily, but he's very clever with it, but this is not true. He told Mrs. Lee that he was going to offer her psychiatric care when she came back. And now he's going to try, because I think because he's being sued now, he tried to cover up that one and tried to slide out of it. You understand? So that is not true. And even if it's something against us, we must not speak things that are not true.
But who could prove that?
Yeah?
Who could prove it wasn't so?
That's not the way to look at it. I'm going to read something else. Dr. B is best off remembering that the word doctor comes from the Latin meaning teacher and leader. His role in society is to be an example of honor, integrity, and character. And I know that Dr. B, this doctor here, I know is full of that. Even though it can be prove, the doctor's word is supposed to be his mouth. And really, it's important that you say what you choose. Regarding the death certificate, the recognition and certification of death should always be verified by a doctor. He or she may issue a death certificate if, 1, he has seen the patient over the past month, 2, he provided medical care during the last final stage of illness. But above all of that, he has to be confident about the cause of death to write the death certificate. If he's not confident about the cause of death, he should not write the death certificate. Otherwise, the patient will need a postmortem. So if you're not certain about what the patient died from, the patient needs a postmortem. And the person, and Mrs. Lee's cause of death is uncertain. It sounds like it could be suicide, but we don't know. So she certainly needs a postmortem, and the person who is going to do her postmortem will sign this. Could we go back to the one you signed before the speech? Yes. I just wanted to tell you, remind you, and if I got to these, all of these things, he's approachable, he's compassionate, he's honest, he's thorough, he's patient, he's decisive, he's trustworthy, loyal, dedicated to patient care, competent, and technically skillful. But he has a gap in the knowledge here, so which is going to fix that by going to all of the 15 hours of continuing medical care education, which we assure them every year. But the beautiful thing is he recognizes that he's always learning and therefore humble. Ethical breaches can result in censure. Censure means that you're not allowed to practice unless you're practicing under somebody else's supervision, or suspension of your license if you can't work at all, or it's removal of your name from the register. So it's not, this ethical thing is not ethics, it's not something to play around with. It's really very serious. The medical counsel very often doesn't strike your name off after the first offense. But if you do more than one or two, they will definitely start in terms of striking you off. Finally, I want to just end with a story like my friend William. There was a bright young man in Thailand, young medical student. He did very well, passed his exams, and met an attractive, intelligent young lady with whom he fell in love. So eventually he married her. 7 years later, he got the 7-year itch and met another fine, intelligent, attractive young lady with whom he fell in love. And he married her. He wanted to marry her too. But in Thailand, the law is that you have to be a Buddhist. But he was not a Buddhist. He's very clever, very good man in terms of arguing his points, and he could argue his way, and he married the second one. And he was to fall in love two further times, and he married the third one and the fourth one. One day he's at home, and he hears, so he opens up the door, and there in front of him is a Grim Reaper. He's trying to negotiate his way out of the Grim Reaper. The Grim Reaper says, no, I'll come for you. So he negotiates, and the Grim Reaper says, all right, the only thing you are definitely coming. The only thing that if you want, they can bring a love down with you. So he goes to the fourth wife, the most attractive and youngest of wives. And she says to him, children, young, 4-year-olds, and a 5-year-old, little young children, I'm the youngest one. I will have to go around to look after the children. So you know, right? He goes to wife number 3. And she says to him, you know, you already taught me about stocks and so on and so forth. We've been investing in stocks. The market went down, it's just about to go back up. I'm the one that has to steer about to look after it. And we're going to hear about that later on. Look after the finances. So he said, you know, right? He goes to the second wife. And she says to him, well, I'm very grateful to you because you allowed me to go to work. And I worked and I found a job that I really like. But the one that I really like, the person is going to retire 2 weeks time. So I really wanted this job. So I really think I'm the person that should stay. I'm saying, no, you're right. So he goes to the oldest wife, still attractive but still intelligent, and still wonderful. And she says to her, "How are you doing, darling?" She says to him, "You know what? You have a good steward for the children. You have a good steward for the finances. Your second wife has reached a stage in her life where she's going to do something about her, how she feels about her own life. I will come with you." The moral of this story is, this story is a metaphor. We all have to look after our children, our family. We all have to look after our finances. We all have to look after our space in life. But the most important thing we must look after is our health. And that is the story just to remind you all that wherever you go, you must take your laughter with you. Thank you all very much.
Let me do that for you. What I learned was the other way around. That this guy, the best tombstone inscription I've ever seen, John Brown. And he went something like, what makes a man happy is having a woman who keeps his company. Another woman who can cook well and manage the home. Another woman who can manage the finances in the house, as I said. And one who is good in bed. The only problem is they have to make sure they don't know each other. That's why they ended up dead so quickly. And talking about widow and widowers. This widow and widow, I've been talking French for some time. And he decided to pop the question one day, so he invited them to dinner. And at dinner they went to the apartment, he went to his house, she went into the house. And the following morning so he popped the question and said, "Will you marry me?" And he said, "Yes, I will marry you with all my heart," and all that. So that's nice. So he goes to his house, she goes to the house. And in the morning he wakes up, and he wasn't too sure what the answer was. So he calls her and said, "Dear, when I asked you last night whether you marry me, what did you say?" "I said, I will marry you. I will. And I'm serious about it. But it's good that you have called, because I didn't remember who I answered the yes to." Our second guest panelist definitely remembers almost everything. She joined GMHS in 2012 and says she really enjoys the high level of professionalism displayed by the members. She has been a pensions consultant since 1985, when she joined the life insurance industry. She has had management experience at LOG, formerly Nansalico, NTB Insurance Company Limited, and most recently at Solid Life and General Insurance Brokers Limited. She has contributed tremendously towards a greater understanding and appreciation of Jamaican's pension legislation, and which had its inception in 1956, and now operates in a highly regulated environment since 2006. She enjoys sharing her knowledge on pensions and helping individuals find money, which they thought they never had. Now you know, ladies and gentlemen, if you need money and don't need a loan, you know who to check. Could you please help me in welcoming to the stage Mrs. Magdalena Cooper? Thank you.
It's working, yeah. Thank you very much, William. One of the things I've dreamed of, and I finally got my dream, which is today, and I thank you just for that, is that I'm really hoping that what we'll have is, after all the presentations, if you relax enough, the men will take off their jackets, the women will feel to take off their jackets too, but don't go lower than the blouse, you know what I mean? And we just talk about retirement, and if the medical group is here, we talk about the medical ethics. Because the thing with retirement is that a lot of people don't talk about it. Am I correct? it's one of those subject areas that don't really, I very rarely hear of families saying, next week Sunday, what's the date for next week Sunday? The 8th of June, we're going to have a family meeting to talk about retirement. Do you do that? Does anybody do that? Because it's just not done. For whatever reason, I don't know. And what usually happens is that a lot of people lose money because they don't understand retirement and the benefits that they've accrued.